Hi guys, welcome to our channel. This is Jatan from Networkers Home Technical Team, and today we are going to see about top 25 interview questions that are asked in cloud computing. So the first question is, what is cloud computing? So cloud computing basically refers to the on-demand delivery of IT resources over the internet on pay-as-you-go basis. So in this, instead of buying our servers and maintaining them, we can rent the server from public cloud providers such as AWS, Azure, and Google Public Cloud. So in this, we can have multiple type of services such as compute optimized, our storage, our databases, and basically whatever you need, you can use in that. So the second question is, what are the different cloud deployment models? So in this, we have mainly three models. We have public cloud, private cloud, and hybrid cloud. So in public cloud, the servers are owned by a third party, and which we can access over the internet. So for example, our AWS, Google Public Cloud, and Azure are part of public cloud. Now in private cloud, the servers are managed and owned by a single organization. And in that we have more control over the servers. Now in hybrid cloud, we are using both public and private cloud at the same time. So for example, our application can be working on the public cloud, and our database can be stored on the private cloud, and we can make communication between the both of them. Now the third question is, what are the key benefits of using cloud? So the first one is, it saves us cost. How? Because earlier without cloud we had to buy the servers and manage them. Now we are just renting them and we don't have to pay a huge amount of money upfront. So it saves us cost in the long run. Then second is the scalability. So in cloud, we can scale our servers up or down whenever we like. Third is our high availability. So the servers in cloud are highly available and they copy data into multiple departments, or you can say in multiple places, so that it is available at all the times. Third is speed. In this, we can deploy our applications faster than setting up physical servers and maintaining them. And last, it is also very flexible. Means we can access it anywhere from the internet. Now the fourth question is, what is the difference between infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service? So in infrastructure as a service, we are basically getting access to a virtual machine. And in that virtual machine, we can manage our operating system, we can manage the runtime, we can manage the data, and we can manage the application that are running on the virtual machine. Think of it like getting a brand new PC. So you can customize everything about the PC. Second is our platform as a service. So in this, we will just build one application and we will put that application in the cloud. Now the cloud will create an environment according to the application that will run the application. So in this, we don't have to select the servers, we don't have to manage the servers, we just have to build our application. And the best example for this would be AWS Beanstalk. And lastly, we have our software as a service. So in this, we are getting a fully managed software that we can use. And we don't have to customize anything about the software, we will just use it. And for example, it would be Microsoft Office 360. Now for the fifth question, what is the difference between public, private, and hybrid cloud? So in public cloud, it is basically a shared infrastructure. So we have the main server, and the main server will be shared among different people. In this, we are not buying the server, so this is cost effective, and we have less control over the server. Now in private cloud, only we are able to access our server. In this, we have more control and we can also basically make it more secure. But we have to buy the server, so it costs more. And in hybrid, it combines the best of both worlds. So it supports both level of security, compliance, and performance. And basically, most of the companies are currently moving toward hybrid cloud. What are some of the challenges of cloud computing? So the first one is data security and privacy. As you know, in public cloud, our servers are being shared among different people. So in this, most companies don't feel safe when they are saving their data on the cloud. So this can be a problem. Second, compliance and regulation. So some application does not comply with the government rules on the and different things. So that is also what you should keep in mind. Third is your downtime and outage. Public cloud is also a server, so there can be a downtime there as well. But if we are using a financial application and that is working on cloud, but our cloud provider is down, that can be also a big blow for our organization. Then next, the fourth one is vendor locked. So when we are using one specific vendor for all of our services, that can also create a problem when we are moving to another cloud. It can have multiple costs and it can be also very expensive. And last one is hidden cost. So basically, if our applications in the cloud are not cost optimized, if we are, for example, using on-demand instances instead of reserved or our saved instances, so it can be a very expensive service. So for that, we need to keep cost optimization in mind as well. Seventh question, what are the top cloud providers? So the first one with the highest market share is AWS. It has the highest market share and it offers more than 200 services. Second, we have our Microsoft Azure. So it basically is similar to AWS, but it has better integration with Microsoft products. Third, we have Google Public Cloud, which is known for their data, analytics, and artificial intelligence and machine learning. Fourth, we have our IBM, which are known for their strong hybrid and AI solutions. And lastly, we have our Oracle Clouds, which are known for their databases and software as a service integration. We have more, but these are the top cloud providers. Now, how does AWS compare with Azure and Google Public Cloud? AWS is the most mature. It was launched the first out of these three, and it offers a wide variety of services, more than 200 actually. Second, we have our Azure. Azure is basically same as AWS, different names for the services. Core and other fundamentals are very similar, but it integrates well with Microsoft applications. Now GCP is best for data analytics, AI/ML, and Kubernetes. See, in all of these three, the fundamentals are same. The pricing varies and some of the ecosystem varies. The fundamentals like storage, computing, and networking, these things are same in all three. Now question number 9. What is multi-cloud and why might businesses use this? So multi-cloud is basically using multiple clouds at the same time. So why we should use it? First, because it avoids vendor locking. So if we are using multiple clouds, so we can avoid the vendor lock-in, which might be very harmful for our business. Second, we can use the services which are best in each cloud. For example, we can use GCP for machine learning. We can use our AWS for their computing services. Now, in this, if we are using multiple cloud, so we can use it for disaster recovery and enhancing redundancy. And it can also improve the performance of our application by deploying them closer to our users. Now, the 10th question. What is serverless computing? So serverless computing basically means that the cloud provider is running the server and they are dynamically scaling the server up or down depending on the need. In serverless computing, we don't have access to the actual server. We cannot configure it. This is basically used when the developers need to only worry about the code. The server will be handled by the cloud provider. This is ideal for scenarios like event-driven applications, microservices, and automation. The best example for this would be AWS Lambda and Azure functions. Question number 11, that what is autoscaling? Autoscaling basically means automatic adjustment of the number of compute resources based on the demand. So it helps us in maintaining our performance of the application. It reduces the cost by scaling down when the traffic is slow to lower the cost. It scales up to match the demand, which will help us our application run smoothly. It can be done on basics of metric values, for example, like CPU usage or request per second to our application. Next, question number 12, what is VPC? VPC stands for Virtual Private Cloud. It is basically a private cloud within the public cloud. So it is logically isolated within the network in our public cloud, which can be accessed by the users so that they can use it as their own network. So in this, we can control the IP range of the network, we can control the subnets, we can control the routing table, and we can control the gateways. It is one of the most important service in terms of cloud security. Question number 30. What are regions availability zones in AWS, Azure, and GCP? So a region is basically a geographical area. So it is basically an area like we have in India, we have China, we have Nepal. What are these? These are areas. So in India, we have two regions. We have Hyderabad region and we have Mumbai region. Then availability zone. Availability zone is basically the actual data center. It can be a single data center or a multiple data center. It can be a group of data center as well. So multiple availability zones combine to make the region. So whenever we upload our data into one availability zone, it is sent to another availability zone for redundancy and for our high availability. So now what is CDN and why it is used? CDN stands for Content Delivery Network. So these are basically servers which are deployed closest to the users for a faster delivery of the resources. For example, when we are accessing a website, it will take, let's say, 50 milliseconds for the user to access it. But if we are using a CDN, so it will reduce the loading time of the same website. So it improves the website load time, it reduces latency, and it enhances availability. And in Azure, we have CDN, And in AWS, we have CloudFront, which is the cloud AWS's CDN service. Question number 15. What is shared responsibility model in AWS? So basically, both cloud and the user of the cloud have a responsibility. So our cloud providers will basically manage the secure infrastructure, physical security, and the network security. They will provide network to us as well. Now for the user side, we should secure all of our data by encrypting it. Multiple ways are there. We should also manage the access. Who can access our resources in AWS or our different public clouds? Then our application, we should secure our application as well, and we have to manage the compliance as well. So for example, our AWS will secure its data centers. The customer will secure their data. For example, we are using S3. So in S3, the data that we are uploading, that will be secured by us. Now question number 16. How our data can be secured in cloud? So the first thing is we can encrypt our data. So when the data is traveling, we can encrypt that using TLS and SSL. And when the data is at rest, we can encrypt that using AES 256. Second, we can control access to the data using IAM roles, IAM policies, and our multi-factor authentication. Third, we can manage network security by firewalls, security groups, and VPCs. Third, we can monitor who is accessing our data by creating logs and alerts. And we can also get compliance certification from different certificate authorities. Question number 17. What is IAM, policies, and roles? So IAM is Identity and Access Management, and it is a service in AWS, and which will be basically used to control what other people can do in our cloud. So in this, we can use users. So users are basically people who are going to access our AWS account. In roles, it is like giving temporary permission to a specific resource. Third, our policies are JSON document which will define what action a user can perform or a user cannot perform. Basically, it will allow or deny any action. Question number 18. How do you monitor and manage cost in the cloud? So we can use built-in tools in the cloud such as AWS Cost Explorer, Azure Cost Management, and GCP Billing. Okay. So in this, we can set up budgets and alerts, and we can use tags for cost allocation. We can analyze the pattern, and we can use reserved instances and safe planning, which will give us discount on the on-demand price. Question number 19. What are the different tools that we can use for monitoring and logging in cloud? So in AWS, we have CloudWatch, which will log based on our metric and logs. And we have CloudTrail, which is used for audit logs. Azure, we have monitoring, log analytics, and Sentinel. In GCP, we have cloud monitoring and cloud logging. Question number 20. What is pay-as-you-go model and how does it work? So a pay-as-you-go model is basically we are paying for what we are using. So in this, we can use cloud resources, storage resources, these things, and we will be billed on what we are using. So this is very cost effective, and this also provides us with elasticity. Basically, we can change everything when we want. Okay. Now, how do you handle data backup and disaster recovery in cloud? So for backup, we can create automations and we can use snapshots. Second, we can use cross-region replication to replicate our data into another region. Third, we can design disaster recovery workflows using our AWS backup service and Azure site recovery service. And we can basically test these scenarios using runbooks and failover drills. Question number 22. What are the differences between horizontal scaling and vertical scaling? Vertical scaling means that we are increasing the resources, the CPU and the RAM of a single instance. It is quick, but it has its limitations. There is a limit that how much RAM, how much CPUs we can increase. Second, we have horizontal scaling. Horizontal scaling means we are adding more resources. Like first we had one instance running, now we have two instances running. And the data will be shared among this and the load will be also divided among this. Now our cloud native apps favors horizontal scaling, and in most of the scenarios horizontal scaling is preferred. So how do you design a fault-tolerant cloud application? So first thing, we will deploy our application in multiple availability zone or multiple regions so that it is more available. Second, we can use auto scaling and load balancing to divide the load among the instances. Third, we can implement resites, circuit breakers and health checks for the instances. Lastly, we can use managed services which have built-in failover. Question number 24. What are some strategies that we can use to cost optimize our cloud application? First, we will select the right size of the instance. Second, we will use reserved instance or saved instance, which will basically give us a discount on the on-demand price. Third, we will use different storage classes. For example, we have S3 standard and then we have Glacier. So Glacier is very cheap compared to S3 standard. So we will move some of the data that we are not using to our Glacier to save cost. Third, we can use monitoring tools like Trusted Advisor or Cost Management. The 25th question, what is a bastion host and when do we use one? So bastion host is basically a secure server which is used to access an instance which is inside a private subnet. So it acts as a gateway to restricted environments. It can be accessed by a SSH or RDP with strict security controls. And it is basically used to reduce our attack on our cloud network. Okay guys, so then that is it for today. I will see you guys in a next video.